Do you ever feel like you're wearing a mask? Like you have to dim down who you really are to fit in? Whether it's at work, with friends, or maybe even online. That fear of being too much, or maybe worse, not enough, is totally real. And man, it keeps us playing so small. We see we see what everyone else is doing, what seems to be working for them, and we think, okay, I gotta be more like that. But what if I told you that trying to fit in, trying to be like everyone else, is actually the biggest thing holding you back from the life you actually want? The life packed with energy and fulfillment and genuine connection. In this video, we're going to talk about how to ditch that fear, stop trying to fit in into a box that was never meant for you, and finally step into your absolute power by just being unapologetically you and get ready to shed that mask. Let's be real for a second. Wanting to belong, wanting to be accepted, that's deep in our DNA. Since the caveman days, being part of the tribe meant survival. So that urge to fit in is totally natural. We're wired for connection, for community, like this. But somewhere along the way, that healthy desire for belonging can get seriously twisted. It turns into trying to erase the parts of ourselves that are different, the parts that makes us, well, us, right? And we look around, see what seems normal or successful, or successful, and we start filing away our edges, hiding our quirks, muting our true voice. I felt this hard, especially early in my corporate career. I looked at the leaders, the people who seemed to have it all figured out. And I thought, okay, I gotta act like them, talk like them, dress like them. I felt like I had to shove my personality, my energy, my way of seeing things into a tiny, predefined box to be taken seriously, to climb that ladder. But the more I tried to blend in, the more I felt like I was just disappearing. Like my light was getting dimmer and dimmer. It was constantly overthinking, asking myself, is this okay? Will they will they approve of this? Should I say that? It was exhausting, mentally, emotionally, physically draining. And honestly, I wasn't even that good at being someone I wasn't. I felt fake, and deep down, I wasn't happy. I was sacrificing my authenticity on the altar of perceived acceptance. It was a heavy price to pay. Here's the absolute game changing truth that took me away too long to really get your quicks, your unique perspective. Here's the absolute game changing truth that took me way too long to really get your quirks, your unique perspective, the things that feel a little different about you, that is literally your superpower. And think about it. In a world that's getting noisier and more crowded by the second, trying to be the same as everyone else doesn't make you fit in better. It makes you invisible. Being different is what makes you memorable. It's what makes you relatable to the right people. It's what allows you to bring unique value to the table. It's your unfair advantage. My shift happened when I finally got tired of pretending, when I stopped trying hard, so hard to be what I thought others wanted, and I just started showing up as myself, sharing my honest thoughts, leading with my actual energy, pursuing what I cared about, and even if it wasn't the standard path. And you know what happened? things started to shift in the most amazing ways. I started attracting people into my life and work who actually got me, who appreciated my energy and ideas. The connections felt deeper, more real. I found work that felt truly meaningful because it was aligned with who I was and not who I thought I should be. It was like finally taking a deep breath after holding it in for years. That's the power of leaning into your difference. It's where the real energy comes from. Okay, so you might be thinking, all right, that sounds great, Mashery, but how do I actually do that? How do I stop being afraid and start being me? It's not flipping a switch, but you can absolutely start taking steps today. And here are the steps. Step one, get curious about you. First, it starts with really getting to know yourself. What are your core values? What are you passionate about? What are those weird things you love that maybe you hide? Maybe try some journaling or ask a few trusted friends who really know you. Hey, what do you see as my unique strengths or qualities? Their answers might surprise you. Or literally just spend 15 minutes this week thinking about what activities make you lose track of time. That can be a big clue about where your unique energy lies. So, for my case, I love my freedom. And that's a reason why whenever I travel to Philippines, I don't stay with friends or family. I stay in hotel. And the reason for that is I want to have my time, my space to be free so that I know if I wake up late, if I uh, come back home late, then I don't owe anyone an explanation. And freedom is my number one value. So, what's yours? So, check what's your core value. It's the perfect time to get to know yourself now. Then let's take step two, challenge the fear of judgment. Next, you've got to look the fear of judgment right in the eye. What's the worst that can realistically happen if you're just you? Someone might not like it, someone might disagree. Okay, that stings in the moment, but does it actually define your worth? It's a big no, N-O. Most of the time, the scary stories we make up in our heads are way, way worse than anything that happens in reality. So just try this. Share an honest opinion in a low stakes situation this week. See what happens. You might be surprised by the non reaction or even positive reaction you get. So, in my case, it's a blessing in disguise. I live in the Netherlands and everyone is very straightforward, or the Dutch people are straightforward. Sometimes they call them blunt, because we voice out what we have actually here, and they don't put any emotions or feelings towards that, so they know how to separate what is a feedback versus a personal attack. And I think, like for me, I grew up in the Philippines, Asian, very sensitive, we call it onion skin, like it's very sensitive to what you say. And every time you give a feedback or offer a feedback, that's not necessarily taken as positive. So yeah, just test. So for me, going to venturing into entrepreneurship, I know people will be probably raising their eyebrows, and thanks for that. I know I'm in a different path, and this is what I want. So, and if you haven't watched the other video, which is how to love your haters, go and check that one. So I gave really good strategies for that. So let's move on to step three, find your team. You do not need everyone on the planet to get you or approve you. So, yeah, seriously, your energy is too precious for that. Focus on finding your tribe, those people who celebrate your individuality, who, appreciate your unique perspective, who make you feel seen and empowered. Seek out communities online or offline. centered around your genuine interests. Check out a local meetup or for a hobby you love, even if it's just once. Putting yourself in spaces with like minded people can make you feel instantly more at home. When you feel supported, it's a million times easier to be yourself. So, I just want to share last Saturday, that was June 14, 2025. Me and my other Filipino friend who lives in Amsterdam, I live in the south, we went to F1 Amsterdam exhibition event, and it was like for me it was in heaven because I love F1 is not just all about the fancy cars, but I'm interested about how the engineering works behind the design of those cars and how the team actually works together because it's not just about the car, it's not just about the driver, it's not just about the team, it's all sorry, the engineering team, the team behind, but it's all about them all together. And I must say I really learned a lot, and because I was with someone who is also interested in this kind of things, when I was taking a look and carefully reading everything in the exhibition, he was not rushing me. So he patiently waited for me outside while he was having some drinks and some snacks, and that was perfect, right? But imagine if I took someone who's not into F1, who's not into, learning this kind of things. I think he or she would have been bored. And yeah, for me, it was the best time. So I still dream of meeting Max in Zandvoort, by the way, in 2026. So hopefully, guys, and if someone is watching this from F1 team, please make my dream come true. I've been to a lot of F1, but at the time, Max was still probably super young. Probably he was still in the, was it F2 or other events, car racing events. So yeah, so because Max is still very young and I'm 49. So yeah, so thank you in advance. So let's move on. Sorry for that. I get carried away with Formula One. Yeah. So let's move on. Step four, take imperfect, authentic action. Remember how we talked about overcoming the fear of failure? This is totally connected. Embracing your uniqueness doesn't mean waiting until you're perfectly confident or have it all figured out. It means taking imperfect action as your authentic self. And if you haven't watched the video I released, give me 5 minutes and I'll delete your fear of failure. Please watch that because I gave a strategy. It talks about the expectation, the outcome, and versus the process. So that I hope will be able to help you as well. And you want to start a side project related to one of your quirky passions, just start, share your honest thoughts on a topic you care about. Post it. Taking action, even small, messy action, builds momentum and confidence. Done is always better than perfect, especially when it's authentically done. Just post that first, not quite perfect social media update sharing. An honest thought this week. It doesn't have to be a viral hit, it just has to be published and just show up, you know? Just like I'm showing up here in YouTube channel, which is really not my comfort zone. And by the way, I created a video on that, how to get out of your comfort zone, how to get uncomfortable. It's really massive aha moments there. Yeah. And now we go to step 5. Define success for yourself. Finally, and this is a big one, redefine what success actually means to you. Is it fitting into the mold someone else has created? Or is it building a life, a career, a network that feels deeply true to who you are? So, yeah, just take 10 minutes to write down what the successful week, month, or year feels like to you, independent of anyone else's expectations or achievements. When you measure success by your own internal compass instead of external approval, everything changes. Real fulfillment doesn't come from blending in, it comes from standing confidently in your own unique space. And just on that note, I want to share just something I remembered. I come from Asian culture background, And we were eight siblings. So back in the days, it was more kids. Having more kids was a luxury actually. And when I turned 25, 27, 28, I started getting all these questions: when I get married, when I get married, when I gonna get married. So I went to have boyfriend just for the sake of, and later on didn't work out. And then little did I know that that path would lead me to becoming into IT work, and that IT work would later on give me the opportunity to go abroad, to live in Belgium, Netherlands, France, Paris, London. And yeah, that's the reason why I was still not married. Of course, if I'm married, I think it would be a little bit difficult to move around and do my projects, IT projects, global transformation projects, and meet other people and travel and have all those fantastic experiences, both challenging and pleasure or leisure, right? So yeah, at my age now, I hope they stop asking, but no, they don't. I just say I have my personal reasons, and please respect that. So going back to you, seriously, when you stop exhausting yourself trying to fit into a box you were never meant for, you free up so much incredible energy. Energy to pursue what genuinely lights you up, energy to build deeper, more meaningful connections with the right people and real people, and energy to make your unique mark on the world. This is what unlocking your energetic potential is all about. It's about removing the heavy weights and blocks, like the fear of being different or the need to fit in, so your natural energy, your unique gifts, your authentic self can finally shine through. It's not just about feeling happier, it's about being more effective, more impactful, and finding a level of joy you can't access when you're pretending. Hear me. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are becoming. And the most powerful, impactful, and joyful version of you is your authentic version. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It desperately needs the original, incredible you. I'd love to hear from you on this one. What one part of trying to fit in resonates most with your experience? Or what's one small way you're going to embrace your uniqueness starting this week? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one of them. And I'd love to hear from you on this one. What's one tiny step you can take this week to embrace more of who you really are? Let me know in the comments below. And your experience could spark something for someone else. And that's what we try to build in this community, to have the accountability and be able to share freely, fairly, and learn from each other. And if that fear of judgment or fear of failure is still loud in your head, seriously, check out the video next where we talk about overcoming the fear of failure and turning it into fuel. Again, thanks for being here, and thank you for allowing me to share my personal journey with you. I'll see you in the next video.